Hi, this is Gary with MACMOST.com. Today let's look at drag and drop on the iPhone. MACMOST is brought to you thanks to a great group of more than 1,000 supporters. Go to MACMOST.com/Patreon. There you could read more about the Patreon campaign, join us, and get exclusive content and course discounts. So iOS 15 brings significant improvements to drag and drop on the iPhone. You can now drag and drop between apps, and it works just like it does on the Mac. So let's start off with a simple example using the Photos app. This is one of the most common types of drag and drop you may want to do. Drag a photo from the Photos app to, say, a mail message. So I'm going to go into Photos, and then I'm going to start dragging a photo by tapping it and moving. Now if I tap for a little bit too long, then I get a context menu. But that's okay. Just keep dragging away and you can see you're now dragging that item. Now this is where multi-touch comes in. You have to keep your index finger down on this item that you're dragging. Don't ever lift it up or the drag will end. But you can use other fingers to do other things. So I'm going to swipe up from the bottom here to go home, and notice I'm still dragging this item around. So now I'm going to go into another app. Let's go into Mail, and I'm going to start a new message. I'm going to tap the composition button there at the bottom right, and I am going to drag and drop into the mail message. So now I've dragged and dropped an image from Photos into Mail. And of course you can go into other apps as well. So let's drag this image here and go into the Messages app, and I'll drag it down here to send it to somebody. Here's another example. Let's use Notes. But this time, instead of going to the home screen, I'm going to drag up slightly from the bottom like that and go into the App Switcher. And this will show me all the recently used apps. So I can actually go over to one and then select it. And now I'm in the Notes app, and I can drop the image here and it'll insert it into Notes. Let's do one with Pages, but this time I'm going to drag and drop multiple items. So I'm going to select this one and start dragging it. But the next thing I'm going to do is tap to select another item. So now I'm actually dragging a stack of 2 items. So let's go into the App Switcher. I'm going to use my other finger to go to Pages. Now in Pages I'm in read-only mode. But I can still activate things on the screen by tapping buttons with other fingers even while I'm dragging these 2 items. So I'll tap Edit. Now I'm in edit mode. Let's go to where I want to insert these 2 images, and I'll drop them here. And you can see it's going to insert both of them. Let's tap away and then tap one of the items. And now you can see I can manipulate it, and I have 2 different items here. So I was able to drag and drop 2 items at once. This also works with third-party apps, but the third-party app has to support it. So let's start dragging and dropping an item here. And let's go to a third-party app, in this case Pixelmator. And Pixelmator here I have an image I'm already working on. I'm going to drop this one in, thus importing this image into the project. But of course if the app hasn't been updated to support iOS 15 and drag and drop, then it won't work. Now on the Mac you can drag and drop from Photos to the Finder to export an image. And you could do the same thing now in iOS 15. Of course instead of the Finder you've got the Files app. So let's go into Photos. I'll start dragging an image like this. I'll go to the Files app, and then I'll go to where it is I want to drop it. Let's just put it in this folder and I'll add it. And this actually will act like an export. And since this is also an iCloud Drive, it uploads to iCloud Drive. So it really does work just like it does in the Finder. And this of course brings us to the Files app, which is another place you'll probably want to drag and drop from. So you can do the same things here. I can take an image that's already here in the Files app. So this is a file. And I could drag and drop it into, say, a mail message. Or I could drag and drop this into Pages. And everything I've done so far now has been images, but you could do the same with other file types. So for instance here's a PDF. Let's say I want to attach that to an email message. I can go to the Mail app, and here I'm composing a message already, and I can drop in this PDF file as an attachment. And you can also drag and drop from the Files app into the Photos app, so importing into Photos. So I'll switch here to the Photos app and I'll drop this in, and it acts just like an import. Another type of drag and drop you may want to do is to drag and drop text. So here I've selected some text in Notes, and I could start to drag it by tapping, holding, and then moving. and then I could switch away to Mail, for instance, and drag this text into there. And you could do the same thing on the web. So for instance, I can select some text here in a web page, and I could start dragging it. And now I can switch to Notes, for instance, and then drop it right here. It also works in other situations. For instance, in Safari, I could drag and drop the web page like that from the bar at the bottom or at the top, depending upon how you have it set. And I could go into another app like Notes and drop it here, and it drops the link with the preview. I could even go into the News app and I could drag a news story like that, and I could go, say, into Mail, and I could drop that, and you can see it adds the link. Look at it work here in Maps. I've selected a location. I can drag and drop from the top here. I could go into Mail or let's say Notes, and I could drag that into there. So as you can see, drag and drop is now almost on par with using a desktop computer. So give this a try on your iPhone with iOS 15 or iPad with iPad OS 15. A lot of this worked on the iPad in previous versions of iPad OS as well. Hope you found this useful. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, click the thumbs up button below to let me know. I publish new tutorials each weekday. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out.